Hello out there in YouTube land. I'm trying to fix my mother's sewing machine. I don't know anything about sewing machines, but I thought I'd pass along something that I believe is quite helpful. So this is a Singer Brilliance. Here is the user manual. And I actually had to locate the service manual online, and I highly recommend you do so because so many things online are more generic. So the problem with this machine was that it was not picking up the thread from the bobbin, the bottom one. So no matter how you threaded this through and double checked your work and everything and make sure you were going front to back when threading the needle, all that. I even learned how to use this crazy automatic threader. No matter what you did, it just wasn't picking anything up. So according to the service manual, what you have to do is rotate this thing so that the needle is in the right place. I doubt it, my phone will show this properly, but basically, here, let me get a screwdriver. You have to have the eye of the needle. Oops, didn't mean to move that. You have to have the eye of the needle. The top of the eye of the needle should be about 1 millimeter away from this point right here. Sorry, I know it's really hard to show, but that top point. But anyway, the purpose of this video is really to show you that I discovered something crazy. So this is not too bad to remove. There's about 9 screws of various lengths to get the both halves of this case open. It would be nice if it had an access panel, but it doesn't. And you know, some kind of plastic spudger tool is highly recommended. But check this out. Here, let me get into a better position here. As I had this open and I was kind of struggling to loosen this. Okay, so this is what you got to loosen right here. That little bolt right there. And it's a 7 millimeter. And so I was struggling to kind of get this in there to loosen that. And while I was doing that, bloop, something popped off. Look at this. There's an access hole. So I felt kind of dumb for taking this whole thing apart and seeing that access hole. But then I realized, well, even if I wanted to put this in, it doesn't fit. So what you'd need to do is get a thin-walled 7 millimeter nut driver. And they do sell them. I found one not too, well, I found one online. Didn't take too long. It was from an RC hobby shop and not too much money. So that would probably be the ticket. And yes, you could probably enlarge this hole, ream it out somehow, but then you wouldn't be able to get the cover back on. So I guess choose your battles. So anyway, if you have a thin-walled 7 millimeter nut driver, you don't have to take this whole thing apart. You can just loosen the bolt right from there and then get over here and put this wheel where it's supposed to be. And I highly recommend you find the service manual. You know, I'll link the one that I found, which I believe was from Singer, but it looks pretty legit. And I'll link the thin-walled nut driver if you want to plan this repair out in advance. So that's about it. All right, wish me luck getting this thread to come up. Hello everyone, just wanted to give a quick update. I did get the sewing machine to sew correctly. It was picking up that bottom thread like a champ, and I even did some test sewing, and it worked out great. Now, I want to go into the access hole at the bottom of the machine just a little bit more. But before I do that, I want to say to you, Don't do what I did, because my celebration was short-lived. If your sewing machine was working properly, then you broke a needle and it stopped working, all you probably have to do is fix the timing. Don't do what I did and get all gung-ho and start doing every adjustment. After I had everything working properly, I made the mistake of looking at all the other adjustments, specifically the side-to-side adjustment. I royally screwed that one up, and when I did another test run, the needle banged into the side and it broke again, and it was bad. I had to reset the timing. So don't do what I did. Just fix the timing. So let's go to this screen where I can show you where this all started. This iFixit page is pretty cool. I'll leave a link down below in case you can't see the URL up here. I'm going to skip all of this because although it is useful, again, I wouldn't go and do all that when all you have to fix is the timing. Fortunately, this individual that posted this manual posted a link to the service manual, which is over here. So this PDF is great, and all you have to do, if it's just your timing, is go to section 4, and what I couldn't show too well in my video was this part right here that I'm hovering my mouse pointer over. Read this carefully. It's just one page. The point of the repair is to put the needle on zigzag, maximum, I think that's 4 if I'm not mistaken on this machine, and then loosen that bolt over here. Well, this is the bolt. This is a socket on the bolt, and what you want to do is put the needle at its lowest position and then don't move the needle anymore. Simply rotate this so that the pointer is right there, as this indicates anywhere from 1/2 to 1 millimeter above that. So once you get that point there, somewhere in there, in that sweet spot, you're golden. That's all you'll have to do. Now getting back to the access. This manual makes no mention of the access hole that I discovered, and I'm assuming maybe that was an enhancement they did later. They probably figured, hey, people break needles all the time, and big pain in the butt to separate the two halves of the chassis. Why don't we put an access hole? Unfortunately, they didn't make it large enough. So as I mentioned in the video, here's an example of something you could use. I'll link it below. So the name of the company that makes this is Boom Racing. I believe they're not USA based, so you need to find a reseller. So these guys, ATees or AsiaTees.com, makes it available. And if we enlarge that, you can see that what's cool about it is that it's thin walled for the whole length. You don't want to get something that's only thin walled here and then has a shoulder and gets larger. So, and you wouldn't be able to use it with this. You would need a nut driver over here. So it could get tricky if your nut driver is the one that ends up getting in the way. After thinking about it a lot, I'm going to say this. Just forget about the thin-walled nut driver because it's something you're only going to be using once in a while. If you're a pro and you fix things for a living, of course you're going to do something like that and get all these cool tools. But this is not an heirloom piece. It's a Singer Brilliance made out of plastic. I would just go ahead and enlarge the existing hole. Just put some tape over it, anything just to keep the dust out, and you're golden. All right, hope that helps. See y'all next time. Bye.